Ever look through old photo albums and wonder who those cute kids grew up to be? As you'll see, while a picture can be worth 1,000 words, there are some things they can't reveal. Dictators, murderers, and terrorists, as these pictures demonstrate, even the cute kids can become absolute monsters. Any guesses as to who this rather stern and disciplined-looking child grew up to be? We'll give you a few hints. In the late 1920s, he became the most powerful figure of an emerging world power. His armed forces committed serious atrocities in World War II, and many historians consider him a war criminal as a result. He even encouraged his own citizens to commit suicide rather than surrender to the advancing enemy troops. If you guess this kid grew up to be Emperor Hirohito of Japan, then good for you.
I know only too well brings about behavior that is just terrible to describe.
This little guy doesn't really look that much different than any other kid, does he? Outside pretending to be a cowboy, years later this kid would be playing defendant because of his crimes. What did he do? He grew up to be one of the most infamous serial killers and rapists in American history. Before his execution in 1989, he confessed to 30 murders, but officials think the actual number is much higher. That's right, this little cowboy's name was Ted Bundy, a man later described as being the definition of evil.
He was fascinated. He was obsessed by the massacre of the entire DeFeo family, and he carried out his own bloody reenactment of it.
One of the lesser-known people here, this 13-year-old doesn't really look like the kind of kid that would cause trouble. Unfortunately, all those smiles for the camera were merely show. In August 2013, before he was to leave for school, he took a .40 caliber handgun and shot his mother, father, grandmother, and great-aunt. CCTV later caught him heading off to class as if nothing had happened. Later that day, he took his own life. The boy in question is Marcelo Passaggini, a Brazilian teen who had reportedly aspired to become a hitman.
Walk me through what you were going to do with the knife in your head to your mother.
Cut her throat.
When you look at this person's class photos, they don't really scream monster, but instead just look like your stereotypical shots from the 1950s or 60s. Friends and neighbors later reported that he was a little strange, but generally a nice guy. They always are. Imagine their surprise when they found out this guy was the most prolific serial killer in US history. That's right, this is none other than Gary Ridgway, who is currently in jail for the murder of at least 49 women, although officials think it could be twice this number.
Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.
Look at this little guy. Cute, shy, nothing evil about him. Fast forward a few years and we bet everyone's opinion changed quite quickly. Before he was even 13, he had been involved in various types of theft and burglary. In 1969, he and his followers committed 9 murders, including that of actress Sharon Tate, which he hoped would start a race war. Today, he is 81 years old and still serving out his life sentence. By now, you probably guessed this little boy is in fact Charles Manson.
If we took the blame, then we would get off on self-defense because we were juveniles.
You wouldn't know it from these pictures, but the 2 boys you see here would go on to be involved in a murder case that captured much of America's attention in the early 2000s. In 2001, the 12 and 13-year-old brothers walked into their dad's bedroom and killed him with a baseball bat while he was sleeping. Then, to cover up their crime, they burnt the house down. Sentenced to jail, they were released in 2009. If you guess they are Derek and Alex King, then you are right.
I did my best to protect the people, so you cannot feel guilty when you do your best.
Who's this little guy standing second from the left behind his father? He grew up in an extremely wealthy family and when the time came, took over as leader of his country. While many thought he would be a great reformer, the boy in the picture turned out to be a hardline dictator who dropped the hammer on those who opposed him. He has even been implicated in war crimes and crimes against humanity. The man in question is Bashar al-Assad, leader of Syria, a country devastated by years of civil war.
His eyes are very unpleasant. He has the look of a cornered predator.
This boy was known for being sociable, smart, and an avid chess player. Then, as a child, he fell off a swing and suffered a head injury that many think caused his behavior to change. The little boy you see here became an absolute monster, going on a murder spree between 1992 and 2006 in Moscow, Russia. By the time he was caught, he had killed at least 49 people, although he later claimed 60. Alexander Pichushkin, aka the chessboard killer, is now serving a life sentence in Russian jail. There's not a lot in these childhood photos to suggest this boy would grow up to become one of history's most infamous dictators. In fact, he became a close ally of another infamous European dictator and fought to expand fascist control over large parts of Europe and Africa. Noted as intelligent and a bully, he was also implicated in war crimes after his armies bombed hospitals, executed prisoners, and even used poison gas. Of course, we're talking about Benito Mussolini, dictator of Italy who was eventually killed by partisans late in World War II.
It was at that point when I was fully intent in my life that I was going to live outside of the law.
It's hard to imagine that this smiling, sandy brown-haired boy would grow up to commit the worst act of domestic terrorism the U.S. has ever seen. He served in the U.S. military and even saw action in Operation Desert Storm in '91. After leaving the Army in 1992, he was disillusioned with the government and became more radicalized. In April 1995, he parked a truck bomb outside a federal building in Oklahoma, which killed 168 people. Caught soon after, Timothy McVeigh was found guilty and executed for his role in the bombing. Evil shows itself in many different forms. We hope you found this video informative. Let us know what you thought in the comments. Please subscribe to our channel for more amazing content daily. Thanks for watching.